This is from Medical News Today. This is about which supplements help with neuropathy. Okay, remember, autonomic dysfunction is a form of neuropathy. Okay, so number one is acetyl L-carnitine. I would also take regular carnitine. Okay, so acetyl L-carnitine is a popular supplement for treating a wide variety of symptoms. The liver and kidneys naturally produce it. People undergoing chemotherapy may find relief from neuropathy with acetyl L-carnitine. However, the data supporting it is mixed. Okay, so and here's a link to some small early studies. B-complex vitamins. These are a mainstay. Everything DNA, nerve health, muscle health, you're going to want to involve B-complex vitamins. Okay, now before I continue, I do have to remind people, I'm not a physician of any kind. I'm not an MD, I'm not an ND, I'm not a DO, I'm not a chiropractor. I'm not a nurse, I'm not an LPN, I'm not an RN, I'm not a nurse practitioner. I'm not a physical therapist. I'm nothing like that. This video does not constitute medical advice. If you have a medical question or think that you may have a medical condition, seek the advice of a licensed healthcare provider. So, what are B-complex vitamins play an essential role in nerve health, metabolism, and sensory perception. Okay, so of course folate, which is vitamin B9, is also present in the alpha-lipoic acid. Okay, people know I'm a big believer in alpha-lipoic acid, even though I don't hammer it as much as quercetin. But alpha-lipoic acid is a free radical scavenger, but it does other things as well. A handful of studies suggest that alpha-lipoic acid may offer relief from some neuropathy symptoms, especially burning and stabbing pains, within a few weeks. Participants received a single dose, blah, blah, blah. Okay, another study found that people taking 300 milligrams of alpha-lipoic acid along with 150 milligrams of Irbib whatever showed increased blood flow in the brachial artery. That's the artery in the bicep. Okay, so magnesium. Okay, people know that I'm a big believer in magnesium. So a study published in Nutrients of people undergoing chemotherapy found that people who had high levels of magnesium in their diet were less likely to experience neuropathy. Calcium. Now, when you take magnesium, you should also usually be taking calcium. Now, as I said, when you take magnesium at some of the high levels, like the ones that my cardiologist recommended, my cardiologist recommended 1,200 milligrams of magnesium a day. That's a high dose of magnesium. You need to consult a medical practitioner about that, like especially a cardiologist if you can, because it can have side effects at that level. Very rare, but it can. Okay, so calcium. The foundation of peripheral neuropathy also suggests that calcium may play a role in chemotherapy-related neuropathy, but again, research is limited. But the thing is, what you have to understand is calcium is an electrolyte like magnesium, and they're very similar. Like Bruce Ames said, they're very similar on the periodic table, so they balance each other out. You have to be careful you don't get too much of one and not enough of the other. A lot of people do have too much calcium. That's why there's things like calcium channel blockers and whatnot that help to regulate that type of thing, but that's kind of idiotic when you can take magnesium. But definitely consider taking magnesium if you're taking, consider taking calcium if you're taking a high-dose magnesium supplement. I go for the citrate form. There are other forms, but magnesium oxide and calcium carbonate are virtually garbage. You shouldn't use calcium carbonate, and you shouldn't use magnesium oxide. Okay, glutamine. Okay, glutamine is the body's most abundant amino acid. I definitely recommend that you take 5 grams of glutamine a day. Everybody should. Glutamine is used in burn victims. Glutamine is used in pneumonia patients. Glutamine does a lot. So it may improve many side effects of chemotherapy, including inflammation, muscle pain, and neuropathy. Food sources of glutamine, of course, anything with protein has glutamine. But as you can see, these are all vegetarian sources. Glutamine is also available as a pill or an injection. It's also available as a powder, which is how I take it. You mix it in water. Glutathione, I don't recommend taking glutathione because unless you're taking it as an injection that's being given to you by somebody, or breathing treatment. The reason why is because it gets destroyed in the stomach. So the best way to take this is to take N-acetylcysteine and glycine, which helps your body make more glutathione. In fact, N-acetylcysteine has been shown to restore glutathione levels of the elderly. Glutathione is an antioxidant. It's a very potent antioxidant the body produces naturally. It is an increasingly popular supplement, but you can get it from okra, asparagus, and avocados. Okay, the body does not absorb it, so many people need to use other methods. As I said, what you should do is you should take N-acetylcysteine and glycine. N-acetylcysteine is present in foods such as lentils, beans, and bananas. N-acetylcysteine, you're not going to get enough of it from those foods. N-acetylcysteine may protect the neurological system from inflammation and damage, which may help prevent or treat neuropathy. Supplementing deficient vitamins, B12, copper. These are all this is why it's so important that you read Dr. Wallach's books. Okay, so B12, copper, vitamin E, B6. They're not mentioning a lot of phytonutrients. I don't know why. Okay, but then you do want to control your blood sugar levels. Don't eat a lot of simple carbohydrates. Eat better carbohydrates. Eat a lower carbohydrate diet. Get physical activity that helps to regulate blood glucose. Obviously, if you haven't quit smoking already. Eat foods that reduce inflammation, such as fish, flaxseed, fruits and vegetables. Okay, this is when to see a doctor. This is mostly for neuropathy from chemotherapy, but neuropathy is neuropathy, and you'll find that out as you research the topic. B vitamins and the nervous system. As I said, when you're thinking about things like DNA, when you're thinking about things like the nervous system, when you're thinking about things like metabolism, cognition, mental health, you're going to be thinking about B vitamins, okay? From a nutritional standpoint, that should be the first thing going on in your head. DNA, okay? Methylation, okay? Nervous system health, nerve transmission, cognition, mental health disorders. The first thing that you should be thinking about are B vitamins, B complex vitamins. So they discuss the main role of B vitamins on several functions, blah, blah, blah. Conclusion, taking into account the current knowledge on the neurotropic vitamins B1, B6, and B12, we conclude that biochemical synergy becomes apparent in many different pathways in the nervous system, particularly in the parasympathetic nervous system, as exemplified by their combined use in the treatment of peripheral neuropathy. So you have to understand, these are being used in the treatment of peripheral neuropathy. Okay, the 8 B vitamins, B1, B2, B3, B5, B6, B7, B9, B12, form a group of chemically very heterogeneous essential substances which have a wide variety of functions in the body. Even though they are biochemically not related, referring to them as a group makes sense because they often naturally occur in the same foods. Mammals are not able to synthesize B vitamins. Keep that in mind. Mammals are not able to synthesize B vitamins. They're synthesized by bacteria. Okay? Even though most of them are produced by plants, they can be ingested indirectly via animal-derived food like meat, dairy, and eggs. Only vitamin B12 is not produced by plants but by bacteria. Okay? So B12 is only produced by bacteria that colonize the foregut of ruminants or the colon of humans, and thus can only be found in animal products like liver, fish, eggs, or dairy products. However, the vitamin B12 produced by bacteria in the colon of humans is not available for uptake because of where it is. It's in your colon. You're going to get rid of it because absorption only takes place further up, okay? So you keep that in mind. Biochemical mode of action. Vitamin B1, thiamine, is extremely important, has long been known to be associated with functions in the nervous system. If you don't get enough B1, you can get all sorts of issues, from maple syrup urine disorder to psychosis. All sorts of stuff can happen if you don't get enough B1. The connections between thiamine deficiency and the development of fatal conditions such as beriberi, a syndrome comprising the parasympathetic nervous system by polyneuritis, and or cardiovascular symptoms, and neuropsychiatric Wernicke-Korsakoff syndrome, characterized by encephalopathy and psychosis, were already recognized in the early mid-20th century. Keep that in mind. Thiamine is essential. Okay, you should definitely be taking extra thiamine even if you are taking a B complex. In general, thiamine is essential for many physiological functions and is, among other roles, involved in glucose metabolism, the maintenance of nerve membrane function, and the synthesis of myelin. That's the coating of the nerve cell that keeps the nerve transmissions pristine. However, the most important function of thiamine is considered to be that it largely contributes to cellular energy metabolism and as an essential cofactor in the conversion of carbohydrates into nerve energy. This constant supply of energy is essential because nerve cells, especially in the brain, consume a great amount of energy to maintain their function. Therefore, thiamine contributes to nerve conduction velocity because it participates in maintenance of myelin sheaths. So it keeps the pristine nature of those transmissions. So your nerves aren't playing whisper down the lane, and what one nerve says, the other nerve knows what it's saying, okay? In addition to its coenzymatic functions, thiamine is also believed to be directly involved in nerve stimulation in a non-coenzymatic way due to its interference with the structure and function of cellular membranes and its ability to regulate ion channels. Okay? This is going into about ATP and the Krebs cycle. You can read this on your own. Vitamin B6, pyridoxine. Again, I take extra B6 too. Vitamin B6 has been discovered in 1934 and has far been associated with over 140 coenzymatic functions. Although its role goes far beyond, it is particularly well known for its important function in the synthesis of the neurotransmitters dopamine from L-DOPA, serotonin, and 5-HTP, and gamma-aminobutyrate acid, or GABA. Okay, according to its function for the previously mentioned neurotransmitters, pyridoxine affects the adrenogenic, which means from adrenaline, the serotonin from serotonin. So it affects from adrenaline, serotonin, and whatever system. Pyridoxine can be attributed to it is a neuroprotective role, which appears to be mainly linked with its ability to regulate the glutamatergic system and thus GABA and glutamate levels. Okay, since GABA serves as a major inhibitory transmitter, meaning it calms you down, it seems obvious that GABA deficiency may lead to serious consequences such as seizures. Increased levels of the GABA precursor glutamate, an excitatory neurotransmitter, can be linked with seizures. Okay, that's why people believe, although falsely, that MSG causes seizures, because it has glutamate in it. The role of pyridoxine in the nervous system is clearly demonstrated by its use in the treatment of pyridoxine dependency seizures, an inborn abnormality in infants with seizures not responding to common anticonvulsants. So keep this in mind. Kids that don't respond to regular anticonvulsants sometimes respond to B6. Okay, however, like thiamine deficiency, B12, the discovery of B12. Everybody thinks B12 is like the only B vitamin because of B12 shots and blah, 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 and anemia, yada, yada, yada. The discovery of B12 can be attributed to the disease that already attracted attention a long time ago, blah, blah, blah. So it can cause anemia in addition to the major role. So it helps to manufacture red blood cells. In addition to its major role, cobalamin is involved in homocysteine metabolism. It helps to knock down homocysteine levels. The pathway for nutritional vitamin B12 intake to cellular usability of coenzyme forms is complex and involves several steps during which cobalamin is bound and transported through the intestine and the blood by different proteins such as haptocorin, intrinsic factor, and transcobalamin. Okay. So lack of it can cause neurodemyelination, which can cause the insulation of your nerves to go away. The role of neurotropic B vitamins in different regions of the nervous system. Okay, the central nervous system, one of the most prominent roles of neurotropic B vitamins. Okay, so this would be particularly vitamins B6, B12, as well as the herein now described B9, which is folic acid, derives from their contribution to the folate homocysteine metabolism. Deficiencies in these vitamins are associated with increased homocysteine levels, which are assumed to be neurotoxic. By promoting oxidative stress and neurodegeneration, increased homocysteine may be a risk factor for dementia, cognitive decline, and Alzheimer's disease. This is why you probably should be taking folate. If you're a poor methylator, you might want to look into methylfolate and methyl B vitamins. Okay. Also, in the parasympathetic nervous system, neurotropic B vitamins contribute to the maintenance of optimal nerve function. Synergistic effect of the combination of neurotropic B vitamins B1, B6, and B12 with emphasis on the parasympathetic nervous system. B1, B6, and B12 most likely hold synergistic biochemical roles in the nervous system, that is, neither of them can replace one of the other. So keep that in mind. B1, B6, and B12 and B9, I don't know why they're not mentioning that, none of these can replace each other. You need all of them. Okay, they are not the same chemical. Okay, you need all of them. So provides an overview on the major implications of the overlapping blah blah blah. Okay, let's go a little chart here. Conflicting interest. So this was actually done. So he wants to. This is conflict of interest. This was actually done by Merck. Interestingly enough. What do you know? Some great research on neurotransmitters and B vitamins done by a pharmaceutical company. Moving on. Now, this, of course, is from a company selling supplements, but what you should take into consideration, how do B vitamins improve nerve health? So, what are B vitamins? Well, that's not really important. Vitamin B1, thiamine, is involved with glucose metabolism, the maintenance of nerve membrane function, and the synthesis of neurotransmitters. More importantly, it helps convert carbohydrates into energy for nerve cells. B6, the active blah, blah, blah. So we already went through a lot of this, but it helps to break down proteins, carbohydrates, and fats, and can help break down homocysteine. Again, it knocks down homocysteine, which is a neurotoxic. It's a neurotoxin. Vitamin B12, in addition to helping to form healthy red blood cells, vitamin B12 also helps develop brain and nerve cells. Keep that in mind. It helps to develop brain and nerve cells. Specifically, it helps build and maintain the myelin sheath that helps to protect the nerves and protect the transmission of the nerves. What is the nervous system? The nervous system is divided into the central nervous system and the peripheral nervous system. The central nervous system, blah, 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 okay. The sympathetic nervous system controls sensory systems, relaying sounds, sights, and touch to the brain, and voluntary motor systems. The autonomic nervous system governs involuntary functions like breathing and heart rate and things like that. So when you have autonomic dysfunction, which is what I have due to the Seroquel most likely, your autonomic nervous system or parasympathetic nervous system, depending on what they want to call it, it doesn't necessarily regulate things like breathing and heart rate too well all the time. What does the nervous system do? Okay, this is just going over what the nervous system does. They kind of did that above. I don't know why they're doing it again. Common benefits of B vitamins. B vitamins help convert food into energy, blah, 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 blah. Okay, they lower homocysteine, they strengthen your immune system, they sharpen your cognitive abilities, they make DNA, they protect nerve cells. Okay. Other natural, so I'm going to move on here. Vitamin C in health and disease, its role in the metabolism of cells and the redox state in the brain. So I'm just going to skip to right here. Vitamin C is involved in the physiology of the nervous system, including the support and structure of neurons. So it helps nerve cells to basically be constructed properly and maintained properly. The processes of differentiation, maturation, and neuronal survival, and the synthesis of catecholamine and the modulation of neurotransmission. So vitamin C helps to create nerve cells properly, make sure they differentiate properly, meaning make sure they become healthy nerve cells properly, and it also helps in the modulation of nerve transmission. Okay? So the pharmacokinetic properties of ascorbate, which is vitamin C, are intimately related with the functions it performs in tissues. Since its distribution and concentration in the different organs of the body depend on their requirements of vitamin C, okay, there exists a specific distribution pattern of ascorbate in each organ, which in brain regions is yet to be fully explained. In addition, so it's not yet fully explained how much vitamin C is in which parts of the brain. However, there is a major oxidative stress link with Parkinson's disease. Okay, finally, the role of vitamin C in health is related to the maintenance of the internal microenvironment determined by the redox balance. Okay, moving on. Vitamin C is very important at protecting from stress. And by stress, I mean stress, not just emotional and stress like that. I mean real physical stress like freezing to death and things like that. They've done research with guinea pigs, unfortunately. Everybody knows I love guinea pigs. But guinea pigs that were given high-dose vitamin C, remember, guinea pigs don't make vitamin C like us. They can't make it. They survived, whereas other guinea pigs not given the high-dose vitamin C passed away due to freezing. They've also done bone break tests where they've broken the bones of guinea pigs and given them vitamin C. And of course, the ones that were given the high dose vitamin C, they healed quicker than the ones that weren't. So stress-related disorders such as depression and anxiety present marked deficits in behavior and cognitive functions related to reward, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So, although literature data has reported limited and variable results regarding oxidative stress relating to endpoints and stress-related disorders, ascorbic acid emerges as a possible therapeutic strategy for psychiatric diseases. Possible my ass, it's a definite therapeutic. Here we briefly present background information on biological activity of ascorbic acid, particularly functions relating to the central nervous system homeostasis. Okay, the vitamin C, okay, depletion of although the efficacy of this vitamin in anxiety spectrum disorders is less established, should say less established, they put less established. Several studies showed that ascorbic acid supplementation produces antidepressant effects. Several studies have shown that vitamin C produces antidepressant effects. Okay, the modulation of the MOA, whatever. Okay, so a pivotal target for the antidepressant and whatever. Given that ascorbic acid supplementation produces fast therapeutic response with low toxicity and high tolerance. There's a guy, Dr. Levy. Vitamin C is technically safer than water. Okay, there have been less people that have died of vitamin C overdoses. In fact, I don't know if there is one that's died of a vitamin C overdose. I don't think there's one recorded in history. But there are less people that have died of a vitamin C overdose than have died of water toxicity. So vitamin C, ascorbic acid, ascorbate, is literally, as itself, regular ascorbic acid, is literally safer than water. That's the truth. Okay? More people die of water toxicity than vitamin C toxicity. Okay? It can be considered as a... Okay, herein the literature was reviewed considering the potential use of ascorbic acid as an adjunctive, an adjuvant treatment in anxiety disorders and depression. Cocoa. Now, this is where we get into some of the phytonutrients. I take between 3 tablespoons and 9 tablespoons of cocoa a day in hot water with an artificial non-nutritive sweetener. Okay, usually I take about 9 tablespoons a day so far. Depending on my mood, I used to take about 3 tablespoons a day. You don't really need to take doses that high. I do because I enjoy cocoa. Okay, so diabetes is a highly prevalent disease in Mexico and in the world, among whose complications is diabetic neuropathy. Okay, it's a group of disorders that present signs yada yada yada. Okay, as part of the mechanisms by which diabetic neuropathy develops, oxidative stress and inflammation have been described. Cocoa is a plant origin product which includes around 300 components, and through different studies it has been suggested that cocoa has different mechanisms of action through which it exerts its beneficial effects on health. It has been proposed that cocoa has a hypoglycemic, lipid-lowering, antioxidant, and anti-inflammatory effect, and thus potentially has a beneficial direct or indirect, it has both, effect on diabetic neuropathy, especially in preclinical studies. The anti-inflammatory and I don't even know what they're trying to spell there. I think they misspelled something. Effect of cocoa has been evaluated through different mechanisms of action. However, most of the studies presented concerning this complication are in vitro, not in vivo. Okay, so keep that in mind. But what you have to understand, you need to read things like the book Younger You by Dr. Kara Fitzgerald. Okay. And you got to look into these things on your own. Cocoa is a wonderful substance. So Bruce Ames says that there are certain vitamins and minerals and other substances that may help boost longevity. Biochemist Bruce Ames, who is the mentor of Dr. Rhonda Patrick, who runs Found My Fitness, which I encourage everybody to please subscribe to Rhonda Patrick's channel, Found My Fitness. So biochemist Bruce Ames from the University of California, Berkeley has developed a list of 41 vitamins and minerals, such as magnesium and omega-3 fatty acids, that he says may help with healthy aging. These substances help keep the body running smoothly. If supplies run low, the body may have to pull resources from tasks like repairing DNA that keep cells younger and healthier, but keeping supplies up could prevent this, according to Ames. This research is thoughtful and provocative, says Harvard T. Chan School of Public Health's Walter Willett. Okay, moving on. I'm fairly certain I already went over this, but I want to go over it again. These are the longevity substances, the molecular agents discussed by Dr. Sandra Kaufman, and I recommend that you read her books, The Kaufman Protocol and The Kaufman Protocol Solutions. So alpha-ketoglutarate, you want to take between 500 milligrams and a gram a day. Aloe vera, this is why you got to read the book. Some of these aren't that great. Alpha lipoic acid, 300 to 600 milligrams a day. Andrographolide, okay, that's 400, okay, apigenin, 50 milligrams a day. Astaxanthin, 12 milligrams a day. astragalus. These are different things you can take. Berberine, 500 to 1,000 milligrams a day. Black seed oil, carnosine. Carnosine, what's interesting with carnosine is you can also take beta-alanine, which seems to be better absorbed. Okay, these are just different substances. Coenzyme Q10 is a very important one. Curcumin. Okay. Fisetin, hyaluronic acid, lactoferrin, melatonin, metformin. I wouldn't even bother with metformin. I did a whole video series on why I don't take metformin. Nicotinamide riboside. You can take niacin. Pterostilbene is extremely important. The thing with pterostilbene, you can get it from blueberries, but you're not going to get a ton. So it's better to take it as a pill. Quercetin, again, take that as a pill. And that's all for this video. Vitamin C, 200 milligrams to 5 grams a day. Yerba mate. And that's all for this video and this video series.